Natalie Lynch is a credentialed investigator and licensed attorney, not a vlogger.
What do you do if there's a crime committed? So you, as the investigator, are not very often going to also be legal counsel to the client with the issue. So again, probably if you're an investigator in a workplace situation, you are not a criminal investigator, and you need to be handing those things back, that awareness of that crime back to your client and your client's criminal counsel. But we also need to keep a couple other things in mind. So first of all, in states that I've ever practiced in, so I'm licensed in Colorado and Texas, and I've been admitted to practice in a couple other places. There's always a rule about vulnerable populations and a mandate to report. So Texas and Colorado have slightly different rules, but the crux of it is that professionals, which by definition includes most people and certainly attorneys, professionals have an obligation to report most types of abuse of vulnerable populations, so particularly children and the elderly and the mentally incapable. So we need to keep in mind that if it's about a vulnerable population, we often have a duty to report, and we need to tell our client, like, I'm sorry, this is inconvenient for you, but I have a legal duty to report, and so do you. So we're both in the same boat, and this needs to happen. If it's about, porn, and particularly child porn, you stop everything, hands off the computer with the porn, and the FBI comes in. That's just how that works. But the other thing we need to keep in mind is that discovering or stumbling across a crime doesn't alleviate our obligation to investigate Title VII, ADEA, other harassment, discrimination, hostile work environment type allegations. We still have to do that, but now we have to do that when we know that there could be a police investigation. So I've had other videos on this, but there are certain ways that we need to bow down and let the police do their thing. We now know that we need to be documenting things probably a little bit better than we would for a civil procedure, but we always let criminal investigators and law enforcement investigate before we do. Thanks.
Mom, you have to tell people to like and subscribe.